The arts as a vehicle to address issues of social justice as they relate to climate change. The arts erect common ground in shaky times by highlighting interconnectedness through the cultivation of community commonality. Just think, whether you dislike or you love an art piece, in whichever way it presents itself, you will inevitably end up in a conversation about it. Art is the ultimate communicative tool and mediator of boundary-crossing conversations. But first, let's set the stage. Why is climate change an issue of social justice? Well, climate change exacerbates existing socioeconomic disparities, and it lays bare fundamental human rights issues. Our human-made problem is further dividing us in a Machiavellian fashion, a means to an end. And while the impacts of climate change will be felt by all, they will not be felt by the world's population equally. And the sooner we recognize that issues of equality and equity intersect with climate change due to disproportionate access to resources, subgroups versus dominant groups, the sooner we can identify multidisciplinary approaches. And that is where the arts come into play. The arts are the ultimate unifier and the most underutilized social emotional learning tool, not just inside of most classrooms, but also amongst environmentalists and policymakers. Multidisciplinary approaches to climate change are critical at this contemporary junction, for the audience is in need of constant stimuli in order to unify. Tried and true methodology is great, but creativity fuels the innovation of practical skills. And that's a central notion in liberal arts studies. So using social media platforms in order to not only convey information, but in a way that makes it easy for others to continue sharing it in a personalized way, turning public forums into pop-up art exhibitions, commissioning environmentally friendly artists to create art installations. There are a multitude of ways to engage in order to retain change. So what's the takeaway? The arts are social tools of advocacy, and the communities created in their wake a collective of adherents. Artists are activists. Creative works are often archaically placed into two different categories, responsive and reactional, and that they are. But what about proactive and preventative? Art is one of history's most important narrators and one of present day's most underutilized allies. The arts are absolutely a vehicle to address issues of social justice. Thank you so much for listening to my lightning talk, and happy Earth Year from Johns Hopkins University.